Thank you, Benjamin. Good afternoon, everyone. The main argument of my paper is that the construction of border walls in the Levant reflects the region's fragmented and anarchic political environment. Let's start by clarifying the scope of my paper. The Levant is a historical and geographical region in the Eastern Mediterranean, typically including Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, and in some definitions, parts of Turkey and Iraq. For the purposes of my paper, the northern border of Syria with Turkey and the eastern border of Syria with Iraq are part of the broader Levantine region according to this definition. From the 16th century until World War I, the region was under Ottoman rule with flexible borders that lacked strict linear boundaries between its provinces. However, the arrival of European colonization reshaped the borders of the region. Approximately one-third of the boundaries established by the colonial powers are straight line borders. Unlike Cold War era fortifications, which were primarily focused on military defense, border walls in the Levant, like other post-Cold War walls, are designed to restrict cross-border movement, shifting the security focus to policing in response to external threats posed by transnational non-state actors. The two center states most involved, whether actively or passively, in the process of fencing and militarizing borders in the region are Israel and Syria. Israel has constructed security walls along almost all its seam lines with Palestinians and Arab countries. In contrast, Syria is the state most targeted by security walls built by its neighbors. Let's start with Israel, often seen as a wall-building state. Its border fortification policy reflects deep concerns about external security and geopolitical control. A clear example of this can be seen along the Israeli-Lebanon de facto border, where Israel has built multiple security barriers since its creation, including electrified fences, minefield, patrol routes. But breaches like Hezbollah 2006 attack show their limits. Following the October 7th attacks, Israel is likely to further militarize their frontier, investing in aerial surveillance and expanded defense. On the eastern side, Israel border with Jordan tells a different story. Although traditionally stable, recent tensions after the October 7th attacks have revived Israeli plans for a high-tech fence. In 2024, Israel approved a project of $1.4 billion to fully secure the Jordanian frontier, reflecting ongoing regional distrust and fragile peace. Moving north, Israel's Syria border reflects both security fears and territorial ambitions. After occupying the Golan Heights in 1967, Israel fortified the area and has recently expanded control into Syria's demilitarized zone following the collapse of Assad's regime in 2024. In contrast to Israel, Syria today is a country surrounded by walls built by its neighboring countries. Starting with Turkey, in response to growing threats from the Syrian conflict, Turkey moved from a flexible border policy to much stricter one. It's built a 110-kilometer wall, one of the longest in the world, to stop foreign fighters, Kurdish groups, and irregular migrants. This Turkey strategy is also closely linked to European Union migration policies, particularly after the 2016 migration agreements between European Union and Turkey. The Iraqi-Syrian border was heavily secured under Saddam Hussein and Hafiz al-Assad, but after 2003, it became porous and was exploited by jihadist groups like ISIS. In response, since 2018, Iraq has started constructing concrete fences along parts of its border with Syria. Despite this investment, the border remains insecure, and measures have negatively affected local communities. Syria's southern border with Jordan had long been stable, but the rise of ISIS and other armed groups led Jordan to tighten its border control in 2014. The Jordanian high-tech electronic fence plan has been supported heavily by US funding. Zooming out to the broader regional picture, the Levant today is a fragmented subsystem shaped by persistent crises since the establishment of Israel in 1948. This fragmentation, coupled with intense competition between regional powers like Turkey, Iran, and Israel, has led states in the region to rely largely on external alliances and militarize their borders. These borders fortifications address immediate security concerns, but also reflect deeper structural problems within an anarchic and competitive regional system. To conclude, while the Levantine borders have faced many challenges over the past 2 decades, including attempts by groups like ISIS to erase colonial borders, the dominant trend has been the opposite: a reinforcement of borders through walls and militarization. This shows that, far from disappearing, borders remain central to state sovereignty and survival. However, as cases like the Hamas breach of Israel's Gaza fence on October 7th remained, as walls may delay threats but cannot eliminate them entirely. State must recognize that true security requires more than just physical barriers. Thank you for your attention.